Hi, my name is Belgica and I make acting related videos, and today I'm going to talk about when should you join SAG-AFTRA. And of course, Jackie's here again with us to help us just navigate through all of this because I know you guys, it's a lot. I hope these videos are helping you.
Hi Belgica, thanks again for having me. My name is Jackie Dallas and I am a SAG-AFTRA actress. I work in television, I work in film, and I'm probably best known for my roles on Stranger Things, Criminal Minds, NCIS New Orleans, and The Resident. I do also have a consulting business where I work with actors who are either up and coming or new to the scene or just looking to bring their career up to the next level. We could talk about getting started in the industry, any questions you might have, or even just going over your materials and kind of refining it for the next stage in your career.
When should you join SAG-AFTRA?
My answer is join the union when you absolutely have to. I say stay eligible as long as possible. Becoming eligible is tricky. It could take a little bit of time, but staying there is really key because SAG eligibility means that you can work both union and non-union jobs. You know, you can still maintain non-union projects while auditioning for the bigger and cooler roles that you want to go out for. Joining SAG is not something you have to do right away as soon as you get eligible either. There's a few different phases within eligibility, which can get a little confusing, so we could break them down. So non-union is non-union. You have no vouchers or you have 2 vouchers, but you have not done any principal work, so you don't have anything to put on your resume regarding eligibility. Then becoming eligible, which we talked about in the previous video, whether it's through 3 SAG background vouchers, getting cast as a principal role in a SAG production or a commercial, self-creating a project. Just a reminder, the employment verification forms that we talked about in the previous video, if you were to self-produce a project, do not count towards eligibility. It just counts towards joining. Once you're eligible, that just means that the casting directors can now call you in for auditions for SAG productions. So anything that you see on television, anything that's kind of Hollywood level that you would see at a movie theater, those are all going to be SAG productions. You cannot audition for them unless you're at least eligible because SAG prohibits productions from casting non-union actors in union productions. Once you're eligible, that doesn't mean you have to join right away. There's something called an OK30. An OK30 is basically triggered with your very next union job. So however you became eligible, whether it's through the 3 vouchers or you got a role, your next SAG anything, whether it be background or principal, preferably principal, will trigger OK30. So for 30 days you have OK30. So for 30 days you can work as many union productions as you want without having to join. It's kind of like a trial run, if you want to think of it that way. Theoretically, you could join the union with 31 union credits if you're working every single day. The more realistic thing is, by the time your OK30 is up, hopefully you've taken on another, role or 2, or you could take that time to work background as a union actor and enjoy the pay bump. On that 31st day, then you become a must join. And a must join simply means you must join before you get on set for your very next SAG project.
Oh, okay, so you have to pay your fees, you have to do all the paperwork, all of that before you even get cast in a new project. So I would say that's pretty important to become union if within those 30 days, because then you're going to be like, oh, sorry, I can't work. I didn't pay it. I didn't end up doing it yet.
I always say once you become a must join, or even once you become eligible, start thinking about saving up because it can get pricey. The initiation fee is, I think, $3,000 in LA or New York. Basically, the worldwide ability to work as a union actor is $3,000 initiation fee. Start thinking about how you're going to pay for that to join, just in case you get an audition, you nail it out of the park, and then you get cast, because they will replace you if you're a must join and you have not joined by the time you're filming.
Yeah, and then another thing that I have heard of is that once you are in the union, like in the whole world, you can't go work anywhere and do a non-union job, right?
Yeah, so it's something called Global Rule 1. Essentially, once you join the union, you are signing away your ability to work on anything that is non-union. So you can only do union work from that point on. This is another reason why you really want to consider whether joining the union is the right move for you, because once you join SAG and you can no longer do non-union projects, you can't get any more experience on indies. You can't get any more demo reels. You can't get any more roles for your resume except on union productions. Once you join the union productions are going to be far fewer and further between than non-union productions. And then the actors that you're competing with are going to be typically more experienced. It's going to be a lot harder, actually, to get jobs by joining the union before you're ready.
I know a lot of new actors are like, oh, I'm just going to join the union. That's just going to put me right up there, make me look like a professional. But realistically, you should have some experience, right, before that. So how much experience should you have? What should your resume look like before you even think about joining the union?
As mentioned, joining the union, you're going to be competing with other union actors only. So you want to have experience on there. You want to have something that shows and demonstrates that you have acting experience, and there's a reason for the casting director to call you in for an audition. They're not just taking a random risk. It's you're trying to convince them to call you in, right? So ideally, you should join the union with 2 union credits already on your resume. The first one who triggers your OK 30, and the one where you actually join as a must join. Potentially a third, depending on how you get your vouchers. Or how you got your eligibility. So you should ideally have, like I said, at least 2 union credits already when you join. If that is not the case, I would say stay non-union, try and work as much as you can, because you want to have a solid body of work on your resume. Not just background work, first of all, doesn't belong on a resume. You want principal credits, you want supporting roles, you want lead roles. It doesn't matter if it's short films, feature films, student films. You just need stuff to show that you have done the work. You know what it's like to be on set. You know what it's like to memorize lines. You know what it's like to hit your mark. So these are basic things that a casting director is going to expect you to know and understand and be good at if they're calling you in for a TV show or a major motion picture. Not just your resume, but you don't want to join without a reel. Because if you're a new actor on the scene, even if you have stuff on your resume, that's not a guarantee that you're good at what you do. That's what the reel is for. The reel is to show that you can actually do all the things that your resume says you can. A casting director, if they're going to call in a brand new actor that they have no idea what they're capable of, is probably going to want to get some validation or verification by watching your reel first before they waste your time, their time, production's time. Don't join the union until you have a solid body of work on your resume, some demo reels that will actually showcase what you're capable of.
Yeah, and definitely get advice from somebody like your acting teacher or your agent if you have one before joining. Just getting advice from other people that are like, yes, we think you're at that level now. You're talented enough, you've trained enough that you can compete with all of these other SAG-AFTRA actors, because I know, especially in the Bay Area, there are quite a bit of SAG-AFTRA actors that joined because they were background actors in, let's say, 13 Reasons Why. I know a lot of people did that, and they just automatically joined and really didn't have that much other acting experience other than being an extra. So at that point, they're kind of stuck in being an extra forever, because you won't be able to get any other acting experience through a union job, because it's likely that you won't even get cast in it.
And you brought up a really good point. Things are a little different if you're in the Bay Area versus in LA. And that goes for saying, if you're in a smaller market, if there's not enough union work there for you, it might not be worth joining, because you're essentially shooting yourself in the foot from doing any of the local work that is available to you. Unless all you want to do is background work, which is totally fine, but just know that it is going to limit you as far as your auditions go and getting cast in things. So it is market dependent as well. If you live in a smaller market and you have the intention of moving to a larger market, then yeah, that's something that you might want to consider doing. Also know, in a major market, I think in all markets, getting union auditions for television shows and major movies, a lot of times those auditions, those breakdowns are not publicly available on casting sites like Actors Access and casting networks. A lot of that goes directly through agents only. So if you don't have an agent or you don't have a manager and you join SAG, it's going to be very, very, even more hard for you to even get those auditions, because there are auditions that you cannot self-submit for.
And auditions that are going to get you a lot more money too. Because sometimes people ask me like, oh, why would you get an agent if you can just self-submit? It's like, yeah, they can get you thousands and thousands of dollars contracts where you are submitting online for contracts that are usually under $1,000. So yeah, definitely think about your goals as an actor before joining SAG and what experience you have. And then going back to the cost of the union, I know there's an initiation fee, but then after that there are dues like semi-annual dues and other kind of costs that come along with being a member, right?
Yes. So the initiation fee is a one-time fee. It's, like I said, $3,000 for the national one. If you're in a smaller market, it might be less than that. It varies from market to market. Once you've paid your dues, then in order to maintain them, there's semi-annual dues. I think annually it's around $222, split into 2 payments. So $111 and change every 6 months, plus a percentage, I think it's like 1.5% of all of your earnings as a SAG actor from the previous year. So you do pay a commission back to the union on the money you've made through SAG.
So that's definitely something to consider, especially if you're an actor that, or if you're an aspiring actor, somebody who's looking into acting. Think about how much money you're actually going to be making, because there's a percentage that of course goes to taxes, and then a percentage for your agent if you have one, or a manager if you have one, and then to the union as well. So all of that money that you might be making, you also have to consider all of these different fees that have to happen in order for you to be a successful actor.
Think of it as an investment towards yourself, you know?
Yeah, a very large investment. I feel like by the time you cut it down, all the taxes and the fees, you really end up with half of the amount of money you make.
Yeah, if you're lucky, if you're not traveling for it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So there's a bit of a question about like, if you're not able, because it's a lot of money, what if you're not able to pay for it all at once, right? SAG does offer financing options. They have their own credit union, so they can do payments like over 24 months. So if you are a must join and you get booked on this amazing show that shoots tomorrow and you don't have the money to just pay for it right here and now, you can sign up through their credit union and work out a payment deal so that you can join SAG and then break your payments down over time and still be able to work on the show that you got booked on.
Or if you already know that one day soon you're going to be joining, like just start saving now. Save yourself the hassle of later having to pay interest or whatever it might be, and you already have that money. You're like, I'm ready.
Totally. There's also a question about international work, right? So SAG-AFTRA is a US-based union. Like Canada has ACTRA. Canada has its own union. Mexico has their own union. But SAG-AFTRA, it's the largest one, and it's the one that's most commonly recognized. So if you're part of the SAG union, you still cannot work non-union projects anywhere else in the world. You can only work union projects. And then there's a question of if you're an international actor, let's say you live in the UK or you live in Canada and you want to work on a US production, you still need to join SAG in order to do so. You can't be in another country's union and still come in and work on ours. You still have to join SAG here. And I think the initiation fee for that is the national one, which is $3,000.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope this really helps you decide when to join SAG-AFTRA, when is the best time for you so you can be financially stable and just happy to be protected by this wonderful union. At the end of every video, I feature another channel. This is today's feature. If you would like to be featured on my next video, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and leave me a comment.